Hey everyone, it's Lexi. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the top 5 books that I am thankful for. So I did this video last year, so I will link that down below and up in the card so you can go check that out. But basically these are books that have really impacted me over this year. So I've made sure I picked books that I've read this year so it wouldn't be repetitive of last year. But these are books that had a really lasting impact on me and changed me for the better. So I think this one is something really good to reflect on and just show how important and impactful books can be in our lives. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So the first one will have to be The Secret Keeper by Kate Morton. This is a book that I read over the summer and I fell in love with it. I don't think I've ever been this invested in a story in a really long time, so this one really was just really amazing. It follows a girl when she's 16. She's kind of hanging out in the family's like treehouse, and she sees this man come onto her property, have an interaction with her mother, and the mother ends up killing him. That's something the family never discussed ever. So now when her mother is kind of on her deathbed and she's suffering from dementia, it kind of comes up again. So she's trying to uncover the facts about like what happened to this man, and kind of this connection that their mother had with this picture with another woman in it. But this book was just so amazing. It has that sense of mystery to it, and I remember reading this on a Sunday over the summer, and I would just sit on the back porch with my tea and just reading it, the last 300 pages, just sitting there. That's how deeply invested I was in it, because I was like, oh my gosh, I need to finish this. It's crazy. But it was just amazing, and it just there's one character, Vivian, who has definitely become one of my favorite characters, and just her strength. So it was just a really impactful book to read because I felt so connected to that character and just seeing from her perspective, and it was just really amazing. And I'm really, really grateful that I picked up that book when I did, because it was just really had a really big impact on me when I was reading it. And then also from Kate Morton, I have The Forgotten Garden, which I read that same summer as well. And it follows a girl who named Nell, who finds out on her 18th birthday that her parents that she's loved all her life weren't actually her biological parents. They found her kind of on a dock after a boat kind of docked from England, sorry. And so she kind of has it kind of shakes her whole world, and she tries to figure out who her real family is. And it has some connection to a storyteller for a fairy tale book that we don't know about. So then it kind of flashes back to Eliza, who we don't really know her role in it. She just kind of stumbles upon this family who's kind of claimed her, who's kind of related to her mother, and her mother ran away from them. So it kind of has that two storylines, and you don't really know how they're interconnected until later on. But that book again was just kind of the same with The Secret Keeper, where I was so impacted by it, and it just, I don't know, it made my heart feel full reading it. Even though there was so much heartbreak in both of these, I feel like it just had that lasting impact where I can be 70 years old and still read that book, and it will still have that same impact on me that it did when I read it the first time. Next is The Night Circus by ERIN Morgenstern, which is again another book. I had a lot of good reads over the summer that I read over the summer, but it was just, I've never had a reading experience like this before. It is very atmospheric in the way she writes everything. I could taste the food she's talking about. I could smell the crisp air. I could picture myself in this world, and I haven't had that such vivid experience reading a book since reading Harry Potter, which was a really long time ago. So I was just really thankful for that experience that book brought me, and just kind of how it takes place in the mid-1800s and just kind of bouncing around in time and all that. So I was really, really pleased with that book. The next book that I have is Quiet by Susan Cain, which was the Tales&Teacups book club pick for the month of November. But this was a book that I've had on my shelf for a couple years now, and I think I picked this up at the perfect time. It basically talks about how there's a power to being quiet, and how introverts the power of being an introvert, which I think was just really interesting. And I think the thing that made it so impactful and it does a really good job at kind of showing you, like, you know, being quiet. Like, society always tells us that being quiet is a bad thing and all this, and this says no, there's actually a power in being quiet and just thinking and all that. So I felt a lot better about myself, but I think I read this at the perfect time because I did have, like, kind of, now I have problems with this one teacher who keeps telling me I'm too quiet and soft-spoken as if it's a bad thing, and then this book kind of really opened my eyes and made me feel a lot better about myself because, you know, like, just kind of how our society is set up for extroverts are kind of seen as, like, the leaders, like, that you can be a silent leader, and perhaps maybe those ones are the ones that are most effective. So this one had a very, like, I will hold this near and dear to my heart, and I never really tab books often. So, like, when I do, and, like, I'm going to be referring to this book, like, back throughout, I can tell through, like, the rest of my life and, like, my career and all that. So yeah, I was very happy that I picked this book up when I did. Finally, the last book is What Happened by Hillary Clinton. This is a book that I read in September or October, I don't remember, but I read it very recently, and this was a book that I was very much anticipating, and it's basically her kind of viewpoint of everything that happened during the election, leading up to the election, and everything afterwards. And I know for a lot of people this past election and everything that's going on in politics now has just been really like, a lot of people are struggling with it, and so it was very good to kind of see her perspective, and it didn't feel like closure because some parts were just bittersweet, but it was, you know, it's like, we're gonna be okay, I think the message was, and how she's gonna always kind of be a part to make sure, like, she's there and all that. So I really like this book. It had a really, like I said, it was bittersweet just knowing how it ended and how that impacted her and how she felt about everything and all that. But there was some parts in there that were very inspiring, and there's one chapter called A Woman in Politics, and it talks about the sexism and all that, and it makes you really frustrated, but it also empowers you to kind of beat the system and just shatter that glass ceiling. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what some of the books you are thankful for, and yeah, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.